lore has become a weird and wonderful part of internet campfire storytelling. We gather around and pass down tall tales of anime fan incidents and crowdfunding gone wrong. These internet odysseys can serve as a warning about mistakes we might make in the pursuit of cosplay accuracy, or they can just live on purely to entertain. Whatever way you slice it, fandom lore is something that we eagerly consume and unfortunately quite often end up replicating. After all, time is a flat circle, and it's not surprising that we see these things happen again and again. We keep it alive for the entertainment and enjoyment of new gen fans. And so today we are taking a deep dive into the weird and wonderful world of anime and fandom incidents. Now, of course, we will be covering some of the most iconic ones because how could we not? However, I'll be endeavoring to cover a few that you may never have heard of. Some will make you laugh, others might make you wince, and a couple of them I'll be debunking or at least giving you more context in order to form your own opinion. Either way, I hope this video will be some much needed levity on my page after the last video, which was kinda heavy regarding a topic within the cosplay community, and will also hopefully serve as a good precursor to my upcoming video essays. However, if there is anything omitted or left out, please feel free to share it down below. Sadly, I'm not a monolith, and compiling these events is entirely reliant on information available on the internet. And sometimes these sources of information and research are far more based on hearsay than actual fact and evidence. But of course, as per usual, I do endeavour to provide the most up-to-date and factual information that I can. I'll also be covering some J-fashion fandom lore, which I know isn't exactly pop culture or anime because it's J-fashion. However, I do feel like the topics I cover within this will be adjacent enough to anime and pop culture that you'll still find them entertaining and interesting. And again, there's a good chance that some of you just may never have heard of them before, so it's a chance to learn a little bit something new. Before even covering the main incidents of today, I wanted to give some shoutouts to honourable mentions. These being stories are either quite short, have limited information, or are adjacent but not entirely based within anime, fandom, or I guess fashion lore. The first honourable mention goes to the infamous Bakugo poster incident circa 2021. This undisputed TikTok classic occurred in 2021 during a lot of My Hero Academia discourse, where presumably a pretty young female fan of the series chose to respond to a TikTok comment stating #cancel Bakugo 2021. This is already a blast to the past, but trust me, it gets worse. The video response to this comment consisted of them filming their Amazon Bakugo poster as they proceeded to smear and squeeze a seemingly used tampon over it. And I won't lie, the used nature of said menstrual product is actually pretty convincing, and apparently most of the internet thought so too. People very quickly started making memes about how bad the My Hero Academia community was, using this biohazardous incident as another weapon against the people who loved the series. And this incident ended up inspiring similar copycat incidents, including Gyome from Demon Slayer also getting pig blood carried by a used tampon. Not to mention the Gojo figure incident, which, as you can imagine, is a figurine of Gojo getting Nickelodeon green gooed by somebody's menstrual flow. And fun fact, the figurine that you see in the Gojo figure incident video is actually the Sega Luminasta Gojo figurine from 2023. You know, just in case you wanted to pick it up for your collection. And as you can imagine, there is a heavy amount of speculation about the reality of some of these incidents. After all, it's not particularly hard to fake something like this. Access to SFX blood is available on Amazon. But whatever you might choose to believe, whether it's fake, whether it's real, it's undeniable that these understated and unknown creators have unintentionally cemented themselves in fandom lore for many years to come. Rainbow Dash boiled on the radiator so that Gojo could free bleed. Now, the next honourable mention goes to the Usakumiya-chan ballpoint pen released in 2012 by the brand Baby the Stars Shine Bright. Now, if you're familiar with J-fashion, you've probably heard of this beloved Lolita brand before. But what you may not be familiar with was their unique decision to release a ballpoint pen featuring one of their core mascot characters, Usakumiya, making the choice to situate the actual pen in between the legs of Usakumiya-chan, unintentionally creating a pretty suspicious looking accessory that, to anyone with two working human eyes, definitely looks a little bit on the phallic side. As you can imagine, this pen instantly became a joke within the Lolita community, and now over 10 years later is fairly sought after and is often found retailing at over £100 secondhand. There was absolutely no reason for it to be in between its legs. I don't know why they didn't just make it like a cute little head on the pen. Instead, they chose to have this big old schleem in between Usakumiya's legs. It was a choice. It was a choice that was made. And speaking of cursed merchandise, we definitely couldn't cover cursed anime lore without an honourable mention towards the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure bootleg Giorno pen. An item which gained infamy with collectors who love so bad it's good merchandise. Anime and pop culture YouTuber Red Bard actually was able to get hold of the original bootleg and compare it to the authentic to the tune of over 1 million views on YouTube. All before listings on AliExpress for this specific bootleg began going dark. And if I remember correctly, CDogVA, another popular YouTuber within the anime and kind of Japanese content realm, is also still searching for this bootleg Giorno pen because it has unfortunately become a pretty difficult item to buy despite the fact that it's bootleg. But before Botched Brow Lift Giorno, we had the iconic Chinese saber statue, or as her admirers would call her, Seda. Off the back of Fate Stay Night's popularity, a Chinese magazine under the name Donghua Jidi, or in English Anime Base, released a completely unauthorized special edition Fate Stay Night spread in their magazine, which also included a free gift of the now infamous Saber bootleg figurine. This particular fake taking great inspiration from the 1/6 scale of Saber by Clays. And oh boy, it's like looking in a mirror, you can't even see the difference. They look picture perfect, they look identical. Why get the 1/6 scale Clays when you can have this? Clearly this didn't go to plan, and Seda ended up gaining pretty quick online popularity amongst Japanese and Chinese netizens. This completely unlicensed anime figurine from a magazine has now become a white whale collectible for figure enthusiasts and new fans alike. But sadly, trying to find her online is a real task because Mercari JP, Yahoo Auctions, and even Chinese sale sites don't have her available. And sadly, the only active listing that I could find her for was on eBay for over $3,000 brand new in packaging. Sadly, they do not ship to the UK, and I only know this because there was an insanely crazy part of me that was genuinely tempted to get this statue in order to be that woman who can unbox this statue and own this statue and maybe bring it to conventions. But also, it's over £2,000, not including import fees. I cannot justify that on what was an under $5 bootleg. Actually, you know what? Let me know. Should I get this statue to unbox? Like, actually tell me if you would watch a video unboxing this statue and maybe like, I don't know what I could do with her. That's the thing, like she's so expensive, crazy expensive for what was a really cheap bootleg. Like she's an unofficial product too. This isn't even like a prize figurine being upcharged. This is literally a bootleg $4 magazine statue that's maybe yay big. It should not cost that much. But man, I would love to own it because it is so scuffed. Now, before we start looking at the main topics for today's video, I want to give a big thank you to today's video sponsor, Love and Deep Space. Now, if you love anime and visual novel style gameplay, you're probably already familiar with this game. But for those who don't know, Love and Deep Space is a highly immersive and beautifully rendered 3D sim game, which allows you to not only romance, but also fight alongside a roster of good-looking and charming love interests. You can enjoy full English voice acting, a fully customizable MC avatar, as well as intense intimate bed card moments with the characters. And now a new banner is launching called Fallen Crown, where you can not only learn more about Xavier, but also experience a new storyline of his role as king beside him, giving you the opportunity to deepen your relationship. And for dedicated players, there are new perks for your daily logins, including a new 4-star memory for Raphael, or being able to gift your Oshi new chocolate from the chocolate shop, or the new Coolie Scoops plushie from the claw machine. This game is fully free to play, and it offers insane levels of immersion and character development, allowing you to really get to know the men that fight for your favor. But who will be your favorite? Maybe the kind and caring Caleb, the confident and dominant Silas, or the calm and stoic Xavier? Join the adventure for the Fallen Crown banner using the link in the description, and immerse yourself in the world and romance of Love and Deep Space. You can support me and my channel by downloading Love and Deep Space for free from the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen. Once again, a big thank you for sponsoring today's video. Now let's talk about buckets. Homestuck was an era of fandom that has been immortalized due to its insane lore, and the general acceptance of Homestuck enjoyers being a little unhinged led to tall tales such as the the Homestuck Sharpie bath. However, instead of just rehashing this beloved fable, I want to turn your attention to the overshadowed Homestuck spit bucket. Now, within the world of Homestuck, an otherwise innocuous item actually holds pretty significant meaning. Buckets to trolls can be seen in the same way as both an aphrodisiac and also a specimen cup at the doctor's. You see, the trolls in Homestuck typically reproduce in Alternia by filling up a bucket, assigned as either mate sprit or kismesis, and they have to fill this bucket up with their reproductive fluid. Said fluid is then mixed together in a slurry and then fed to Mother Grub, who then produces litters of trolls. I gotta give them 10 out of 10 for world building because, oh my god, I was not expecting that. I had vague memories of what buckets were when I was doing my research, and I had to double check because there was kind of like conflicting bits and pieces online. But yeah, it's a reproduction thing. Buckets are a reproduction thing here. So you can start to fathom why the wider Homestuck community watched in horror as a video was uploaded of Homestuck cosplayers sitting in a restaurant passing around a plastic Halloween bucket and spitting into it. Roll the tape.
This is the making of Nick Cage. Is it recording now? Yeah. No, I mean, is this recording? Yeah.
Now, according to this re-upload, the original video was titled "Slobs in Bad Homestuck Cosplay Spit in a Bucket in a Public Place." Although realistically, I kind of think that this was probably the name of another re-upload because I can't imagine the people who are filming this would refer to themselves as slobs and name it this way, but that's all I could find in terms of the original video. And in this over 4-minute long upload, we can see a murky brown bucket of spit being passed between 6 or so cosplayers. Now, I am somebody who does not get grossed out easily. I do not wince or look away in surgery scenes. I can look at immense amounts of viscera and nastiness and I don't wince, I don't flinch. You know, I wanted to be a mortician at one point in my life. Could you tell by the way I dress? I don't find things gross in the same way as probably a lot of people do. There's not a lot that makes me feel really unsettled or grossed out. But I kid you not, watching this video, especially whilst eating lunch and scripting, it made me feel nauseous. The crunchy video quality only adds to the puke brown slurry that is being sloshed about and shown to the camera. And as you can tell by the setting, this bucket was filled and filmed in a public restaurant. Initially stated to be Olive Garden, which I actually think is a Homestuck in-joke, this restaurant was apparently later identified by one commenter as a Boston Pizza. Once said aforementioned bucket is filled, one of the cosplayers at the end of the table ends up taking it and tucking it by their feet on the floor. Here's hoping that it was just disposed of in a bathroom or a sink or a drain outside after they finished their meal. Because I'm telling you now, if I was one of the minimum wage workers at Boston Pizza and a bunch of cosplayers spilt a bucket of spit on the floor on my shift, I think I'd actually go chimp. I think I'd actually go insane and crazy. I could not do, I would quit. I would quit on the spot. Now, the aftermath of this video going viral allegedly led to a lot of the cosplayers involved being harassed and bullied online. And look, I'm not going to pretend that the spit bucket doesn't haunt my thoughts with its colour and consistency. After all, it is a really gross thing to do in a restaurant, and it's really disrespectful and unthoughtful to do it in public anyway. Like, I'd bet hard money that this table was probably loud and disruptive for a lot of the other diners and waiters. But I also think that in this instance, the punishment just doesn't fit the crime. Realistically, how many of us as teenagers or beginner cosplayers did something cringy or regrettable on camera? Only throw the first stone if you haven't shared a piece of bubblegum with your friend, done a gross or inconsiderate prank, been loud at a restaurant when you probably shouldn't have been, or even just accidentally drank backwash. Again, don't get me wrong, this video is gross and inconsiderate, and I do feel sorry for the waitstaff who probably picked up on what was happening and felt obliged to be polite. But realistically, provided that that bucket was disposed of properly, nobody was hurt, nobody was massively inconvenienced. It was just another crappy day on shift for the people working there. And for those cosplayers, up until it became a viral incident, it was probably just a fun memory. Which is more than can be said for the next fandom incident.
All the way across the sky, like whoa, whoa, oh my god.
Fans quite literally make or break a fandom. They keep IP and media alive long after the official production of merchandise or new releases. Anime convention artist alleys are a treasure trove of fan art and niche community in-jokes. You can find almost anything you can think of from indie artists. And if it's not already in existence, you can just pay someone and commission somebody to make it. But one topic that can divide even the most hardcore and dedicated fans is that of shipping. Shipping is a fandom term used to describe two or more characters that should be romantically paired together, either canonically or in a fan's personal opinion. This can be anything from Yuri Jesus and sweet lesbian headcanons to the more controversial and contentious pro-shipping, with pro-shipping often referring to a pairing or couple that has a dynamic that can be seen as problematic, such as having a large age gap or massive power imbalance. Honestly, the shipping dilemma is a whole video in itself, as often it comes down to the discourse between censorship and Dead Dove Don't Open.
I don't know what I expected.
But in today's tale, shipping disagreements allegedly led to one Taiwanese artist almost sustaining fatal injuries. You see, back in May 2017, fan artist Avamides was attending a Taiwanese convention, and at said convention, during the typical fan interactions, she was given a batch of homemade cookies to take and enjoy. Thinking nothing of the seemingly kind gesture from a supportive fan, she allegedly bit into one of these cookies only to have a needle then pierce into her mouth and her lip. And in a now defunct post on their Plurk account, the artist stated, "Warning, these photos contain a lot of blood. I'm very sorry that I haven't had a chance to say my thanks for the convention, but I received a needle in my dessert gift from the convention. Thank you. I have one more piercing now. I'm not trying to ask for comfort, I'm only trying to tell everyone how serious is this matter, so do not comfort me. This matter is unable to be investigated and hopeless to be investigated. This matter has made me lost of trust towards something, but from today onwards I will not be accepting any more handmade food by others." Just to clarify, this post was initially translated from their native language, hence why the English isn't the best. It's not me being dyslexic, it is just a translation from their native language, so apologies for it seeming a little bit grammatically inaccurate. The pictures that Avamides posted alongside this statement show a chewed up cookie, a sewing needle, and a little bit of blood. Speculation quickly arose as to why somebody would choose to do this, with the most common theory at the time, due to Undertale's popularity, being shipping discourse. You see, Avamides was an artist that made a lot of fan art for the ship Franz, a pairing which is made up of Frisk, who is a child, and Sans, who is an adult. Something which many onlookers and fans would consider to be under the problematic banner of pro-shipping. As such, many onlookers didn't think it was too unrealistic for a disgruntled auntie to take matters into their own hands and serve out tainted food. Even some of the comment replies to the original stories seem to reinforce the idea that shipping discourse is a serious matter in the Undertale community. With one commenter stating, "Why are you excusing somebody who draws ships of an underage kid? Frisk is a damn kid. They can choke." Oh my god. Oh my god. They did it, Your Honor. I think they did it. Now, you may be wondering, a little bit like me, how bad the art must have been for people to want to cause grievous bodily harm to the artist. Like, are we talking Shadman levels of degeneracy and discomfort? Well, ever since the original incident, Avamides' Twitter has been locked down. But finding their Fur Affinity account, I was able to track down some of their remaining artwork. Now, chances are they have nerfed a lot of their original artwork because things were very thin on the ground in terms of availability. But the raunchiest things that I could find on their Tumblr was just reblogs of other people's fan art. A lot of their own original artwork that is remaining on their public pages is a hell of a lot more tame and is more platonic than romantic from what I can gather. Again, that doesn't mean that the ship isn't questionable. That's not me saying, oh my god, it's fine as long as this, that, and the other. No, I'm just stating what I found. Please, I'm just reporting on the news. Now, Avamides does still offer NSFW commissions, with Sans being on their advertisement banner for these commissions. So again, I think it is fair to assume that they have deleted some of their more unsavory artwork since this drama went down. But I do want to highlight that as of now, Avamides does have a very clear disclaimer saying that they won't draw characters under the age of 18 in NSFW commissions. So again, take that as you will, see that as you will, but as of right now, that is kind of where they're at in terms of their fan art. Now, in more recent years since this incident and the many retellings of it online, the legitimacy of this whole thing has been brought into question. One Reddit user made a very good point stating, how can we be sure that this was all about pro-shipping versus antis? And also just about how this event was very quickly blown out of proportion and used in a way that just wasn't helpful to anyone. After all, there is no evidence to support the idea that Avamides was specifically targeted because of their artwork within the Undertale community. And I just beg that we don't cite things as confirmed or 100% legitimate when we don't have the proof to show that being true. I see it happen all the time on short form platforms, and it gets really, really tiring when people are quoting stuff that happened and the source is "trust me bro," or "I saw it one time in a comment section elsewhere," or "I heard somebody say this once." That's not a good source. That's not a first-hand or secondary source. That is a terrible source. Cite your sources. Be clear about what proof you have when you are making arguments that are quite severe. Also, I'm gonna be real, the original photos that were posted by Avamedes are a little bit suspect to me, just as a skeptic. Playing detective a little bit, the amount of cookie on that napkin compared to the size of the needle and the color of the blood all just seems a little bit off to me. Like, the blood looks like the same color as strawberry syrup, and although I can admit that blood can mix with saliva and look lighter and more washed out, that isn't abnormal, it does still seem very artificially bright. But again, it could just very well be blown out lighting. But I also feel like needles would just be hard to eat undetected, especially in the format of a cookie. Because to be clear, the average sewing needle is around 3 to 4 centimeters long. Not to mention that biting into the cookie without biting down on the needle with your teeth first is also pretty unlikely too. In my highly uneducated speculation, it feels far more likely that you're going to chip a tooth by biting down on a needle than you are to get a mouthful with the needle in it completely unaware. Something like a muffin or even a taller cake would make more sense because you could bake the needles upright, and therefore when somebody's biting into it, there's a better chance of it kind of going upward into the roof of their mouth. Personally, if I was going to taint somebody's food, I would probably put like broken up pieces of glass or something into the pastry, because it's a lot. I'm just thinking like that would probably be the easiest way, right? Glass would be the easiest way, or just poison. That's not me giving advice, by the way. Do not do that. Do not fucking do that. Do not cause grievous bodily harm. However, arguably one of the most important things about this whole story often gets neglected. And that is the importance of being safe when it comes to accepting gifts, especially food, from fans. I myself have had a few lovely followers over the years hand make me goods. I've had handmade cakes, I've had handmade cookies, and I have eaten them completely naively without any kind of preconception of anything being wrong. And thankfully, every time I have had one, I haven't had a problem. I haven't experienced sudden bathroom issues that you might get from laxatives. I haven't had any kind of ill health. I haven't detected anything suspicious. But the more time that I have spent online as a creator, not even that big of a creator really, I have realized how parasocial people can be and how nasty people can be as well when they take umbrage with you. And so now I am way too paranoid to accept drinks or foods that I haven't seen being prepared or haven't been sealed from people that I don't trust. When I got offered a drink at the last Comic-Con, I actually walked with the guy who offered the drink to me and my friend to the bar, and he gave us his card so we could buy the drink, which was very kind of him, very, very sweet, because he was like, I don't want you to think I'm going to do anything nefarious. That was king behavior. I also don't think it needs to be said, but I am going to say it anyway, but just because you do not like something that somebody has done online, that does not give you good cause to actually harm them in real life. Do I agree with these ships? Do I enjoy content that is similar to these ships? No, I don't. I don't enjoy it. I've been very vocal to my detriment about the fact that I don't enjoy stuff like that. However, do I go out of my way to engage with it to be angry? Also no. If there's content that I don't enjoy, I just simply don't engage with it and I distance myself away from it. I certainly don't endeavour to crack out the Mary Berry cookbook of murder. And to also make one thing really, really clear, if you do have genuine concerns about the media that somebody creates online or their behaviour on and offline, and you think that they are doing genuine harm, then this is something to report as opposed to take into your own hands vigilante justice style. You're not kick-ass, you're just a weeaboo with a box of cookies. Speaking of causing harm to congoers though, the next piece of fandom lore is something that many might know of, but very few got to experience. In 2025, anime conventions have a lot more rules and regulations about what props are allowed on convention premises. Often these props need to be made out of non-lethal materials such as foam or cardboard, as well as being sufficiently tagged and checked by security. And this can feel a little extreme, especially for cosplayers who were unaware of the rules and end up having their prop confiscated. But in reality, this strictness when it comes to what you can and can't bring into a convention is a much needed revisal from the era of the yaoi paddle. You see, back in the mid to late 2000s, a trend started to emerge within anime and convention culture, where for the cost of only $35, you could pick up a solid wooden paddle with the word yaoi inscribed on it. Although if you were a himijoshi or a connoisseur of girl love, then don't worry because they did have a yuri version. Or if you wanted to get real weird with it, they also did uke and seme ones. Uke and seme in yaoi relationships meaning two roles, with seme being the top or dominant, and uke being the bottom or submissive. These terms within yaoi can also refer to characters who are older, more dominant, or cuter and more naive. Now, the original company and stall selling these paddles was Hendane, a loud and proud vendor of all things boy love and doujin. But before the paddle was produced for consumer sale, it actually started out as a gift between friends. DeviantArt user Aki Cafe was the original creator, making the original wood-burned paddle with yaoi on it as a gift for Hendane, specifically due to an in-joke about Hendane sales relying on people buying boy love and girl love content. And due to the popularity of this gift when it was featured at conventions, Hendane, without the permission of Aki Cafe, went on to sell these paddles en masse to con-goers. They even went as far to make sure that the hilts for these paddles had inscriptions saying that it was an official Hendane product. And this peddling of paddles to con-goers of all ages undoubtedly started to cause some serious concerns. It became a popular community pastime to hit people with the paddle on either the hardcore or softcore side, especially if they were cosplaying a character that you liked or cosplaying a character that your character was shipped with. Something which is funny between friends, but very quickly started to become a problem when people were targeting strangers. One bold rumor that regularly recirculates whenever the yaoi paddle is mentioned is that a cosplayer received a broken pelvis as a result of being paddled with the yaoi paddle. But like with a lot of crazy stories on the internet, this has never been shown any proof. There was never any news articles or blog posts really talking about it with any evidence. And so we should probably say that it is hearsay based on just the popularity and infamy of the paddle at the time. Although, off the back of Redbard's YouTube video on the yaoi paddle, the actual Hendane Twitter account responsible for the original yaoi paddles tweeted about the worst instance of yaoi paddle misuse that they'd ever heard of. This allegedly involves one cosplayer being paralyzed and the offending yaoi paddle user being sent to jail. Although again, no factual information backing this up exists.
Yaoi paddle.
However, do not get me wrong, I do fully believe that injuries were commonplace around these paddles. Not only because of the existence of many YouTube videos where the pain of the person being paddled emanates through the screen, there are sadly numerous instances where college fraternities have used paddles as part of their initiation, only to result in the pledgees sustaining significant injuries or, in the worst cases, losing their life. So is it really all that unbelievable that a heavy wooden paddle in the hands of completely unsupervised teenagers, or extremely immature and unthoughtful adults, would potentially cause serious injuries?
And oh my gosh, it's yaoi.
In the many years since the yaoi paddle's initial infamy and its banning from conventions, people have started to look back fondly on this Wild West period of anime conventions. Small businesses have gone on to create their own fan art or fan products of the paddle, turning them into earrings, hair clips, and keychains. And many cosplayers and artists have also hidden yaoi paddle Easter eggs within their content, with some innovative con-goers choosing to work around these stipulations of props by making yaoi paddles out of foam and cardboard. Although interestingly, whenever a new project or Kickstarter arises to resurrect the yaoi paddle, the Hendane Twitter account is one of the first people to speak against it, ironically standing firm that it's not okay to bootleg it and that they don't appreciate people copying their landmark product. Once again, despite Aki Cafe's claims that Hendane never asked permission to sell these items when it was initially just a gift. One Kickstarter campaign created by Twitter user Yaoi Paddlers, aka Henry Eyes, aimed to reproduce these iconic items for a new and insistent audience. The person behind the project, Henry themselves, clearly being a long-term fan of online and in-person pop culture and fandom. He even owns and runs a Newgrounds Twitter page and actually hosted the London meetup for 2025. So again, I kind of feel like it was pretty clear that Henry, although there would be some profit there, was remaking these items for the love of the game. But in response to this Kickstarter campaign, Hendane issued a tweet and seemingly a copyright warning, which inevitably shut down the project entirely. There is some contention as to whether you can realistically copyright a wooden paddle and a word, but ultimately most fans don't have the time or legal ability to check into this and realistically challenge it. The yaoi paddle has massively outlived its rather short convention lifespan. It's a cautionary tale for new gen fans, and a hit of nostalgia for those who lived through this era or just started attending anime conventions off the back of it. Realistically, it's definitely for the best that yaoi paddles are no longer in circulation. But man, I wish the official ones were easier to come by because they are non-existent online. I'm gonna say this right now just in case, but if you have an original Hendane yaoi paddle and you would consider sending it to me, I will frame it. I will have it in frame of my videos. It will go straight on the mantle. It will go straight on the mantle. I will put it up pride of place. If you have one, please, 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 please hit me up. The official Hendane Yaoi paddle or Yuri paddle. I'm okay with the Yuri paddle. I prefer Yuri. Hit me up. Please hit me up. But hey, if yaoi paddles aren't your thing, then maybe old man yaoi might be, or more specifically, this body pillow. Now, if you watch me on here or you follow me on other social media platforms, you probably already know that I am a massive lover of alternative and Japanese fashion. I hate to say it, but Harajuku is just simply not my legal last name.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And as such, I love learning about lore that comes from within J fashion. And arguably a club classic and one of my favourites has to be the Mr. Yan body pillow. So within Lolita fashion, the brand Bodyline has always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with the community. There are a good few reasons for this, one of which is the fact that this company originally started out as a lingerie and costume brand, something which a lot of Lolitas are vehemently against. They do not want their fashion to be seen in that kind of way, as well as just the fact that Bodyline had a habit of creating replicas of other popular brands such as Baby the Star Shine Bright or Angelic Pretty. However, a key character that would further sour Bodyline's thin reputation would be the infamous owner, Mr. Yan. Now, to be clear, this man was a genuine creep and a menace. The Bodyline International Modelling Contest that would run yearly was originally entered in by a lot of young people, a lot of young Lolitas in good faith. After all, who wouldn't want to become a brand model in Japan, modelling cute clothes from a fashion style that you love? It's a dream opportunity for many, especially at the time because Japan wasn't a popular place to visit. It wasn't as accessible for a lot of people online. However, after some time, it became painfully clear that these competitions were just an opportunity for Mr. Yan to pull an audition, aka using this contest to try and find a foreign wife who more often than not was actually a child or a teenager, because the age of entry for this contest was 13 and up. Well-known kawaii fashion influencer at the time, Venus Angelic, actually won this contest back in 2013. And to this day, she can still be found in a lot of the brand's imagery and official product releases. Venus even released a video at the time during this period of modelling under duress of Mr. Yan, allegedly trying to prey on her desperation to live in Japan by suggesting that she should marry him. One quote from a now defunct video expose that Venus Angelic uploaded stated that Mr. Yan had said to her, "You look like a child, but your mind is like an adult." Be aware that Venus Angelic was 16 at the time of doing this modelling in 2013. And of course, in classic form, Bodyline got this video taken down and it is still unavailable to this day. Other models ended up coming out with similar stories of Mr. Yan's inappropriate behaviour and conduct, including one girl named Nadia who claimed that Mr. Yan tried to propose to her when she was out there modelling and ended up sending her a dress called the Love Nadia dress, which went on to be sold on the Bodyline website. This dress quite literally saying Love Nadia at the bottom of it. Mr. Yan's hunt for kawaii models was very quickly dubbed the Find Mr. Yan a Foreign Waifu contest. And as such, he was pretty heavily disliked by most of the Lolitas in the community.
We gotta definitely write a song about how we do not diddle kids. Do not diddle kids, it's no good diddling kids.
There is no quicker way for people to think that you are diddling kids than by writing a song about it.
In response to all of these jokes about his mission for love, Mr. Yan ended up creating one of the most cursed pieces of official merchandise I may have ever seen. This being the infamous Mr. Yan body pillow. On one side of the pillow, we see Mr. Yan in his iconic black hat ensemble, eyes closed, sleeping peacefully. Text on the pillow can be read saying Dreamtime and San Francisco? I'm going to assume that that was where this image was taken, like it's meant to be like a location-based memory. I don't know why it says San Francisco on it. On the other side, we see a more flirtatious part of Mr. Yan, as he models an open shirt and swimming trunks combo. The text this time in Spanish reading, Esta noche no duermes conmigo. Or to translate it for the English viewers, tonight won't you sleep with me? As well as the location on this pillow being marked as Cancun. A hell of a beach episode we've got going, guys. A hell of a beach episode. I smell 12 episodes. This cursed item was put up for official sale in 2014 and actually had a restock in 2016. And now has become a bit of a collector's item since Mr. Yan's departure from Bodyline in 2018. A few online Lolitas have jokingly unboxed this accursed item, as well as just showing off the fact that they own it because, honestly, Hell of a brag. No doubt to the hidden dismay of a likely still single Mr. Yan. RuffleCon 2016 even hosted a late panel called Mr. Yan's Next Top Waifu, where many adult Lolitas gathered to do a parody of a dating show featuring a stand-in Mr. Yan. Or as I'm going to affectionately call him, Liquid Mr. Yan. This item is definitely something that is funny to own, but I also do think it represents a wider issue when it comes to the exploitation of girls and women within J-fashion and fashion. J-fashion spaces to this day still have a massive issue with prioritizing thinness and paleness. And Mr. Yan represented far more than just some incelic dude in a shitty top hat. He perpetuated a system of exploitation, bringing in young girls and women who had an ambition of modeling in Japan, only to subject them to humiliating and uncomfortable situations. He was a predatory man that operated under the protection of an internationally accessible Lolita brand. He manipulated and scared a lot of people, again, nearly all women, and his body pillow is a stark reminder that he was able to profit from his seedy reputation. The thing is, with all fandoms and communities, there will be good, there will be bad, and there will be things that fall somewhere in between. For every bad moment caught on camera and immortalized online, there are thousands of quiet, happy memories being made between friends and strangers. I don't think any one fandom is truly worse than any other, and I think these fandom incidents just cement how passionate people can be, even if that passion can be misdirected or at times harmful. I personally love hearing and sharing these urban legends around. And no doubt we'll have new stories to tell as the popularity of anime and pop culture continues to grow in the mainstream. But as always, let me know down below, what is your favourite piece of cursed fandom, anime, or fashion lore? What is a story that you love to tell your friends when you're describing a community or fandom you're a part of? What is the weirdest thing that you've ever experienced or has happened to you at a convention or online? Let me know down in the comments below. I also want to give a huge shout out to my paying patrons who support my content and my channel. These being the amazing Fable from Tokyo, Lace Hart, Nina Hopkins, JMNR16, Idiot Insomniac, Lucy, Shy Raw, and Nubby Bunny. And of course our lovely otaku tier patrons as well. And fun fact, these patrons not only got to see this video early and ad-free, but they also got extended uncensored bonus content, as well as access to my Patreon exclusive brand new room tour video. Starting at just $2.50 a month, you can get downloadable and ad-free viewing of all of my YouTube content. That is cheaper than a cup of coffee per month. Not to mention that if you choose to support the otaku tier or above, you get exclusive access to my Patreon-only content such as my room tour, and upcoming Patreon exclusive videos, early ad-free and uncensored viewing of my existing uploads, and your name will be shouted out in my YouTube content as a founding member of this channel, hallmarking yourself as a contributor to what I do and the things I try to make. Supporting my Patreon directly helps to support my content, providing both daily uploads on all of my short form platforms, but also full-length videos here on YouTube, and of course all of the exclusives mentioned over on Patreon. But as always, the cheapest and easiest way to support what I do is to drop a comment down below, save the video, like the video, and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon beside it to never miss an upload. I've already got some exciting J-fashion and big projects cooking for this month, so hopefully you guys can look forward to that. And in the meantime, it is time for the end of the video outfit check and some of your fan art. Bye! Hello, it is time for the end of the video outfit check. Starting off on my head, as per usual, we have the AC/DC rag headdress that I love to wear. And it's honestly such a versatile item when it comes to dark, kawaii fashion, so I highly recommend it. I literally got these really cool, weird glasses at like this little shop in Takashita Dori when I was in Japan early this year. I got them early this year, and they work so well with styles like this, and low-key, they're probably one of my favorite items at the minute, and they're really cool. It was like £2. I have no idea where you can get them elsewhere, but you can screenshot this video and try and search them up on reverse image search online. I have one of my small Vivienne Westwood orbs. And then the bolero jacket and the dress that I'm wearing are both from Oz on Japan, and I got them when I was last there this June, and I went down to the bottom floor of Shibuya 109 and I ended up trying on this dress, this bolero, and another hoodie, and a cage skirt to go over the top, and honestly, I fell in love. This is kind of my first Lolita-esque, Lolita-adjacent item, and I love it. I love it so much. This outfit makes me feel so pretty. I feel so good in it. I got so many cute photos taken in it. I just feel like it just does me justice. But yeah, this is the outfit for the video. Low-key, is it eating? Yeah, I kind of feel like a little plague doctor-y, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a little bit of a plague doctor. I feel like I do medicine unconventionally, like a Victorian house MD. You know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. What do we think? Do we like it? I don't know. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!